Warning, the following video contains spoilers that will spoil your life. If you haven't completed Rebirth, well, what are you doing with your life? Go beat that shit and come back to me and watch this video, you spoiled bitch.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the best PS5 game I've played, up until Chapter 13. That ending is something that needs to be talked about right now. Spoilers incoming. Now I'm gonna start off by saying I had a blast playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. After beating the game, I took some time to think about how I feel about the ending, cause Final Fantasy VII OG is my favorite game ever. So I wanted to take some time to articulate the ending. And here we are. I won't lie, that was incredibly fun, but I had a lot of issues with the game. But there was only one glaring issue. Well, really two. And the two big issues I have are the ending being rushed and how the game ended. I recently made a video of the top 3 moments that I wanted to see in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and the Forgotten Capital was number 1. Alright. So number 1, I had to think about this for a while, and it was going to be the Temple of Ancients, but my number 1 most anticipated sequence happening in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has to be the Forgotten Capital. I was excited to search for the Lunar Harp and traverse the Forgotten Forest, to reach the Forgotten Capital and to search for Aerith. Well, we didn't really get any of that. Now, a little backstory, I did go into Rebirth completely blind. In fact, I did not even know how many chapters there were. It wasn't until I got to the Temple of Ancients when I realized that they had placed this part here. I instantly remembered this from the OG game, and this was near the end of Disc 1. And I was only on Chapter 13, and since Remake was 18 chapters, I figured we would complete the Temple of Ancients and re-enter the open world once more. Well, that was not the case. Turns out Rebirth is 14 chapters. I was shocked and I felt like I hit a brick wall. How can they condense everything into one chapter? The search for the Lunar Harp and figuring that out in the original was amazing and definitely pays off. I don't know why they decided to completely butcher the events leading up to the Forgotten Capital, but that's what they decided to do. They could have shortened Corella or the Mithril Mine segments to focus on making sure the whole story is completely fleshed out. But no. Instead, we get a half-baked interpretation of the Sleeping Forest and sped all the way right up to the ending. I could not believe it, and I don't know if I'm the only one that felt like this ending was rushed, but I 100% expected to re-enter the open world after the Temple of the Ancients. I was wrong, and I should have looked up how many chapters the game actually was prior to playing. But I did feel like it made sense to expect 18 chapters since Remake was 18 chapters. And I do find some humor in the game because it's completely fleshed out except for the end. I knew I should have suspected something when the Temple of Ancients was located on the northern continent. Now, just because the ending was somewhat rushed in my opinion, it doesn't mean the game is ruined. However, what can ruin a game is the ending. Do I think the ending of FF7 Rebirth ruins the entire game? Of course not. But let's get into why I think this ending just does not work and should have never been done. Even after skipping through what I was looking forward to most, we finally get to Aerith praying. In the original, we all know what happens here. Cloud is being forced to kill Aerith, but is able to prevent himself from doing so. In Rebirth, it's the whispers that are affecting Cloud, trying to make him kill Aerith. But again, he is able to overcome this. Then Sephiroth drops from above and attempts to kill Aerith himself. Now, I wanted either two things here. The first thing I wanted was Cloud to save Aerith, preventing her death and changing the course of history. That is what I wanted. Or I wanted Sephiroth to kill Aerith and to do it in a way that rips our hearts out again. They would need to show her being stabbed and blood and the pain on her face. All would need to be captured and stressed beyond belief. I wanted it to be brutal. Either change history or validate it with a stamp. I wanted the creators behind Rebirth to make a decision, but instead, they wanted to play all angles. They wanted to have their cake and eat it too. So in Rebirth, they decided to have Cloud block Sephiroth's sword, saving Aerith just in time. But then the static shock thingy happens, and blood suddenly appears on Sephiroth's blade, and Aerith collapses from being stabbed. So at this point, we thought Cloud saves Aerith, yay! And then she dies. That's what we think. We go on to battle Sephiroth Reborn and team up with Zack for 10 seconds. Great. And then we finally get to face Sephiroth. But wait, Aerith joins us somehow. And Sephiroth even admits
must admit, I underestimated you.
Wait a minute, Aerith is alive? So she's alive. So you battle Sephiroth and defeat him, even though he just flies off laughing. Then Aerith disappears. What the fuck? Okay, so she's dead. I don't know what's going on. So it cuts back to reality and Aerith is in fact dead and Cloud is still holding her. Then Cloud tells her to wake up. So Aerith wakes up. Wait, she's alive. She's actually alive. What is happening? Oh shit, never mind. She is dead and everyone's sad and Cloud sees her ghost. Why, Square? Why? It was a roller coaster. I thought she died, lived, and died by the time the credits rolled. I don't know why they made her death so confusing and ambiguous, as if she is alive in some other multiverse or world. Why would we care though? Why does it even matter? All that matters to me is the world we play through as Cloud and the gang, and I'm specifically talking about Stamp, the Beagle Stamp. That's all that matters to me, and to expand the story and make it about some multi-reality nonsense is watering down the greatest story of all time. At this point, they should have just stuck to the script and stayed faithful to the original. I'm 99% sure that Aerith is dead, but I'm sure the creators want us to speculate on whether she died or not. Well, to me, there's not much to speculate, as no one can see her in the final scene except Cloud, but Cloud is beyond brainwashed at this point. He has gone off the deep end and has the black materia still, it seems. Or who fucking knows if that's even the real black materia. The ending is so terrible for being so confusing. I really wanted answers and for Square to take greater risks. They almost had it with this game, almost had it. But Rebirth comes up a little short of my expectations story-wise. Gameplay and everything else was fun, a great experience, but FF7 OG story reigns supreme. Wow, I really wish they went in a different direction with that ending, because I'm still just shocked at what they tried to do. It does not work for me, and damn, Aerith is dead. My favorite character in the game died again, in a very sad and confusing way. Anyways, I have so much to say about Rebirth, but I had to start with the ending, only because it's crazy to me that they chose to do all of that for what? For what? Maybe they have a plan? Probably not. That's all I gotta say. I give this game a 8.5 out of 10. I still am very intrigued at what they're gonna do in part 3 and what the title will be. Also, maybe they'll have some DLC for Rebirth so we can play as, you know, Vincent or Sid even. And another thing, they got Sid all wrong in Rebirth. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.